Hey, Ben and Mike here. Y'all there? This is the Sunday night hanging, well, right here on Sunday, because it's the way I've been doing it since 2018. Why change things now? Right? Exactly. Speaking, it's this is your life type episode. Michael and I were hanging out on the recent Water Buffalo meeting, and he went full Chris Farley. He's like, "You remember the time you did that?" I'm like, yeah. He's like, "That was pretty cool." I was like, "It was pretty cool." And then I said, "Why don't we do a show talking about that as well as what he's been up to and everything, what y'all have been up to, but gives us something we can touch base on." What, an actual theme for a show? I know. Well, last week's show had a theme, and we discovered that we can eat a lot of edibles when required.
It was inspired.
And somehow still have insomnia that night. Fucking 300 milligrams. I still have insomnia.
I know I speak the same as a lot of people in the chat. We partake with you last week, of course.
Yes, which was fun. Yeah, like that 2 hour mark. I'm like, who else is doing this? And it was like 8 or 9 of us going at it, and I'm like, that's awesome.
I had a lot of junk food last Sunday night. I'll tell you that right now.
Right. Well, speaking of we got a bunch of people in the chat here already. I'm going to go right back. We see we got some guy named Michael V in here at noon. He's like a minute early, just a bit. Yep. We got Michael Krause, who's gonna miss tonight live, but he'll check out the You better be watching the replay, Mike. What's up? Earl's here. Zach Thong, one of our good friends, Zach. Who goes back as far as us too, because we all met virtually on the same group hang.
In the Blues.
In the Blues, yeah.
Blues.
Yeah, I don't, I kind of got known as the community hang guy over the years, but really I just stole the idea from Shane. But then Shane stopped doing it, and I kept doing it. So,
I remember it well. Zach showed off some Les Paul. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Hobo Roadies here. Eston Ray. Arf. Billy Baloney. Billy, what the hell's Cleveland ketchup? Saw a video just before we got set up here. The guy used Cleveland brand ketchup with the skyline on the ketchup bottle. Dave Chase is here. He probably doesn't know. Cushman's here. JP Page 2 is here, although he should be out at 5 for Fighting. They're playing in Grand Rapids tonight. Pete Thorne on the guitar and everything. Who else we got? HW Titan Lords. That's Mad Raj. What's up, Raj? There's Ferd Burful, the Grand Poobah himself. There's Donnie. We're still waiting for Donnie to show up at one of the Water Buffalo meetings. He might. He just might. Here's Gary. He's here. Who else we got here? Hip Metal Works is here. Marcia Murray. Christopher Live Sova's here. BC Rich 581. Symmetry. Martian Murray. Dave Chase, of course. Noise Bloom. Back after some time off. Wayne McConnell. John Landino. Keith H.
Keith, what's up, man?
Keith's a character.
Excellent.
Eddie Van Haskell's here. Graphite and Cigars. Eston Ray. Mark's Gas Station. Mark Taft in the house. I'm going to be hanging out with Mark tomorrow. Hanging out. We're doing yard work at my sister's.
What's up, Mark?
Eddie Fay is here. Cleveland ketchup is an antibiotic nasal rinse. Got it. Okay, and he's like, I'm not knowing, I'm shrugging. I don't know, it just looked like a Heinz bottle or something with different label. Steve's here. What's up, Steve? The one and only Boner Jams. What's going on? Another New Englander. Terry's 3Gs. See, we were just stalling until Terry showed up.
There we go. Now we can start.
Now it's a party. Right? And Terry's like, why is it a party that I'm here? Because you brought the tie-dye. Sure. All right.
Excellent.
So if you got a question for either of us, folks, you can add us. Or if you remember, you use member milestone to stand out. It looks like super chat, only it isn't. Or you can stand out with a super chat, or The virtual tip jar is open, although you got to keep the message really short on that one. Otherwise, I can only read the first sentence. Or just, don't do all caps, though. Nobody needs to yell. So we'll just put that there. And why not? We'll put up the virtual tip jar as well. There we go.
There you go. The best way to tip.
It's the best way to support the channel. If you just want to support the channel, it's the best way to do it.
Why throw
There's Verde himself. What's up, Charles Green? Great show earlier today. You and Mitch Heyman.
Nice.
Nice.
Oh, today. I got to catch the replay. I was out all day.
2 p.m. Yeah, it was on at 2.
Nice.
Our other Charles friend I see is absent from the chat. I hope he's feeling okay. He took Friday and today off, and I texted him, and I got a thumbs up. I said, I hope you're still alive, and I got a thumbs up. So I guess he's still alive.
Hey, and Charles Green in the chat.
Yeah. Always great to see Charles there. He was talking about his favorite band of all time, Motorhead.
Yep.
And I decided to stir the pot, Michael, because
I
do like to stir the pot on occasion.
I love it.
Especially by dropping facts. And I saw there's a bunch of the striped music contingent in, the EVH crowd in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I just dropped the comment that Fast Eddie Clark was actually the first guy to put a humbucker in a Strat. Way before that Eddie Van Halen guy did.
You have evidence to that for that?
Yeah.
Fact?
Ace of Spades.
There you go.
Right? Just look at the foot. He's playing because he's got the no finish Strat, or it's a natural finish Strat. Either way, but it is an HSS setup. And that was, I believe, 75. At that time, Eddie was still flipping back and forth between guitars playing cover tunes. So I'm just saying.
I think you're right. I mean, there's video evidence. What are we going to do? Argue with it? No way.
Right? Got to believe it. Looking right at it. So, yeah. Hey, there's Gear Junkie 35.
So how long ago we were talking about the stream with Zachy? When was that? Like 2018 or 17?
Yeah, that'd be 2018 for sure, because it was Google Hangouts, first of all. And Google Hangouts went away at July of 2019. Hey, there's Guitar Man 45. And thank you, Terry. Yeah, and if you aren't already, subscribe to Mike's channel, folks. Like, seriously. I was talking with Trev the other night, and part of the alumni, we're all part of the 2018. Michael is. Laz is part of that class as well as Fender Guru, who's now Mr. 5150 Hub or something to that effect. What's up, Matt? There's Matt McCollum Music. I don't know who else is from that 2018 that's still making content on the somewhat regular.
That was the vape shop days.
That was, yeah.
Anybody in the chat remember the name of the vape shop? I mean, I could spill the beans, but
that's a good trivia. Hey, who knew? We're doing trivia tonight, folks.
Yep.
I like it.
Yep.
Yeah, especially if you're a fellow water buffalo, you should definitely be subbed to Mike, because that's what us water buffaloes do. Sure.
Isn't that what this is? Aren't we in a water buffalo right now?
Right?
Where's Paul and Ferd and
where's Paul? I haven't seen Paul around. I hope Paul's doing all right as well.
Yeah. Paul's a great guy. And JP Page too. He's irregular.
Right.
Mark
wow. There, see now when you say I remember Ben doing a Veda.
Yep.
And that's what really started, was because and that would be the April, not even the August, because you had to do a video every day. So it ended up being these little live streams or little videos that I could upload. Hey, there's Herb. Congrats on the new guitar, Herb. Yeah, spoiler, it's a Kramer. If you haven't seen it.
So I actually went through your videos today to kind of remind myself of what's in there. And I couldn't believe how many different categories of videos there were. You know, you had vlogs, right? Which you kind of started back then in the vape shop or at home.
Yep.
And that's when you had a different studio location. There was some shelves behind you with some music stuff and some other stuff. And then as you look through the videos, you start to see like that wall starts to change.
More crap.
pedals start to grow, and eventually it's a big wall of amps with the pedals in front now. And then the guitar row is growing over to your side. It's pretty cool to see it when you look through the videos and scroll like that. You see
because when I started, I was gigging, and as most gigging musicians, I had barely enough gear to gig with, and that was kind of it. I think I had 4 guitars, 3 of which worked at any given time.
Yep.
Probably enough pedals to make a pedal board, and that many pedals again, because I always kind of had a little mini collection. And then an amp, one reliable, and the rest were.
Yep. Well, I think at the time you had your amps, your dad's amps, kind of. It was kind of like a both situation,
Right. Well, yeah, just to try to look as much like the Tone King as possible.
Yeah, and it grew. I mean, that wall grew for sure.
It did.
And I can see some of the particulars behind you now, right?
Yeah. A lot of the gears changed, other than like my vintage Canadian heads. I still have the half stack from One Day to Live. My gigging amp, which used to be missing, you'd see a big blank spot because I gigged the night before and I didn't bother lifting it back up on top of another amp. So there would always be a gap on occasion if I was gigging the week, which that was the funny thing. This show, before it was called the Sunday Night Hang, it was kind of just, I think I called it the Sunday Chat, perhaps at times.
That sounds right.
It was usually me talking about the gig the night before I played. And sometimes it was during the day. Sometimes it was in the late afternoon. Sometimes it was a setup video, depending if I was working at the vape shop, open 11 till 3 on Sundays. So,
right. And at that time, you announced the thing that became this eventually.
Yes.
It was in the vape shop. You were doing a vlog, and you said you were going to have fellow musician buddies. Like you hadn't you didn't name them yet. So I didn't know if that was.
I didn't name them yet because I hadn't booked them yet, Mike. That's how that,
Yeah.
Typical of the music industry. Smoke and mirrors.
But I thought because it's the beginning of this,
Let's see here. We've got a few comments I'm going to bring up here. Zach says, yeah, I remember the live hangout with Shane. That was back when I was living in Oshawa. Yep. And I was living in Trenton. And then
Mark Taff got it. I don't know if somebody did before.
Yep. Yeah, Mark got it. Eddie always had a beard. And my hair was already getting long by the time I started the YouTube channel. So I stopped cutting it in 2015. Which led to becoming single in 2016.
Well, there's
why don't you get a haircut? I'm like, why don't you?
One Day to Live, back at around that time.
By the time I started the channel, I had left that band, but I needed content to put up on the channel.
Okay.
Hey, there's Mitch Heyman.
But then Honey Badger videos come like right after that, I think.
Because that band was current.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's like a mix of those two videos for a little while.
Yeah. See, there's Absolute Mayhem, who I met at the vape shop. He was regular at the vape shop.
Yep. And he used to come to the after show hangs. So if you ever were on a Sunday night show and hung out after, Wayne would get the link and come in after.
Yeah, he'd be part of the post-show hang, as well as, and he would do a few live shows from the vape shop too. My live lunches he'd do on occasion.
Yep.
I'm trying to think. I left One Day to Live in 2016, but I had a couple of videos. Because the reason I had a couple of videos, Michael, is because I was the one that ran the YouTube channel for One Day to Live, you see.
Okay.
Which had a couple of videos. So I just download them off there and upload them on my channel to put up, one, to put up some content, and two, dare I say, to add some street cred.
Okay.
Because you get the people that are tuning in for the rest, like, look, you sit around and talk. You don't know how to play guitar. And I'll point to my live band footage. I'm like, yeah, see, I don't know how to play guitar.
Yeah. I mean, the video I looked at, but I'm like, is that Ben? His hair has to be a third of what it is now, if not a quarter. And I was
short
like,
hair in a
video.
Lemmy burn stash.
And you had the black Les Paul style there.
Yeah. I used to play 2 black Les Pauls, mainly. Standard and custom. Both at piece. Made in Korea.
Yep.
It just happened they were made in Korea. Yeah, and then anytime someone filmed us at a Honey Badger show, I'd usually get in touch with them like, hey, can I get a copy of the video? And I'd throw it up on the YouTube channel as well as our Facebook page, which again, more content. And by that time, I'm going to say we had a core of 50 subscribers in 2018 by the summer of, maybe even 100, that were like, oh, wow, cool. Like, here's you playing last weekend. I was like, yeah, I talked about it. Thank you, RJ.
So all of those things we're talking about so far were like June to March of 2018, and March and April of that year, I think, are when we were doing the Shane live streams.
Yeah.
And I think I was even on one with you and Tone King.
Yes. Yeah, we had done a couple together, and Nick in the States.
Yep.
Because Nick was one of my first guests.
And Stevie Snacks. I forget his real name now.
I remember, because Nick was one of my first quote unquote big time guests. Him and Shane both. Because Shane's just like, hey, if you're cool, I'll hang out with you. I don't care what your channel size is per se. And we had some. Hey, Daryl. So where did Nick go? Nick sporadically puts out content these days. That's all I'll say. His daughter, I don't know if she's well all the time, but that might be. I don't want to say that's a factor, but it's possible.
Hey, Josh Tamberg, what's going on? If we didn't, I don't know if we said hi to him.
Josh. I missed Josh till you just said that. Yeah, but I just remembered like I tuning into one of Shane's community hangs, and he's like, Ben, why aren't you on here? I sent you an email. I'm like, what? Well, why would you send me an email? I have 100 subs. And then I get on, and I just remember somebody. Actually, I think Mitch Heyman might have been on one of those as well.
Yeah. That's how I met Mitch back then, too.
And I just remember somebody saying, wow, this is amazing being on here with all these big-time YouTubers like Shane and Tone King and Ben. And I'm like, wait, what? Why are you including me? Shane has 100,000 subs at that time. TK was at like 80,000. And I'm like, I think I hit 200 because 50 watching just subbed me.
I had 30 subs at the time, and I was on there.
Right. Yeah, I think the One Day to Live stuff would definitely be from Overtime, Mark.
Okay. So yeah, that brings you up to like March, April of 2018. But I had to say, like 2018 and 2019, when you look through the videos in your channel, it is like a, do you remember that time? Do you remember? I mean, it's jam.
Well, yeah, and that's how I managed to have like 1,000 subs by March of 2019, because it started with a conversation post-show hang, which would have been we'll call it the genesis for the NAMM trip, which was the May show with Michael Smith. Yep. And which we started at 10 p.m. and went till almost 4 in the morning.
I remember that one.
Where you were tuning in throughout the night.
Absolutely, it was working.
And JJ just mentioned the term full throttle. Just keep going full throttle, and he's like, just keep going full throttle, and we'll make it to NAMM. I'm like, all right, and then he'd be like, every time I hit a milestone of another 100 subs, he's like, way to go, brother. I'm like, full throttle. He would text me, way to go, brother. Full throttle.
I guess another trivia for people in the chat. When did they think Robert Baker was on for the first time? I think they'll be surprised to know when it actually was. Like, given, these timelines we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to wait people to guess, or can just somebody tell it?
We'll give them a minute here. Hey, BCC. What's up, buddy? Yeah, because we get about a 30 to 40 second lag in the chat.
Yep. Bass Clef Connoisseur. What's up, Bass?
So, BC thinks he met me through Dave's World, or a recommendation from Dave's World, because I do the repair videos as well.
Okay.
Ooh. Oh. Touche, Terry. I'll say. Because possibly, I don't know which came first, chicken or the egg. Either the first live hang with Robert Baker or a video in which he appears with me in the video.
I know the answer.
Right. Because I know when I met him for the first time in person.
Yeah. Well, the first thumbnail with his face in it, I found. Like 8 or so years did I win.
No.
Thank you,
I'm
Ferg.
bring on my channel.
Yeah, this is on Ben's channel for sure. This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Which reminds me, as if I think, not Nam, Terry. But I just remember the first event we went to was the Cosmo Music Fest in 2018. You might remember, Mike.
Yep.
And I didn't shoot much stuff in there, but Richie and I kept coming back to the car because weed wasn't legal yet. So we kept coming back to the car to smoke weed. And then we'd go live for like 5 or 10 minutes. And everyone kept saying it had the feeling that it was like we were just in between rides at Disneyland and we're touching base with the family in between rides. Yeah, I wonder where you got that idea, Bo.
All right. So is that enough guesses, you think?
Yeah. No.
All right. So there are two things right at this. It's at the same week. One is Canucks Guitars from Arden's Music, and then the next that's on June 19th, 2018, and then Robert Baker at Sweetwater, June 23rd, 2018.
What's up, Travis? Yes, which that's when I knew Robert Baker was a nice guy because it was drizzling rain out, Mike, and we stood there for probably 45 minutes talking in the rain.
Oh, wow. And just a quick mention on that same day, you had a small, quick one with Greg Koch.
Yep. And then I went live right after I shot that one with Greg playing behind me and just like ignored it just to see if anyone noticed. They're like, hey, is that Greg Koch behind you? I'm like, oh, yeah, no big deal. Greg and I go way back. That's the first time I got to play Greg's pickups because he had a telly there. The Gristlecaster wasn't out yet, but he had a telly with his pickups. And I do
Fluent ones? Is that what they are?
The Gristlecaster pickups, I think. Okay. No, I forget what they called the pickups. But
maybe it does the electronic.
Yeah, the Fishman pickup set. And I was really thinking about buying a set of them. He was putting a hard sell on me.
I don't know. I can't do pickups with batteries. I don't want a battery in my guitar.
That one though, I didn't mind because it used a lithium ion with a micro USB right near the output jack, like in the dish. Yeah. And once you charged it, it was good for something like 700 hours of playing or something ridiculous.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
But almost more mysterious though. Because at least with a 9-volt battery, you leave the cord plugged in, it's dead the next time you try to play.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's predictable.
Yeah. But the nice thing is, as long as you kept your phone charger with you, right, you could charge it anywhere.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm not thing. I've seen so many people struggle with that. That shouldn't,
What's up, Joe? Yeah, Joe, the Greg Koch video I did, it's interesting because I tried to out-Greg in the video. And you can see him, he kind of smirks at it. Because I believe we both said indubitably, which is probably the only YouTube video where two people said indubitably in a guitar-related video. What's up, Doug?
So I would say that's when you also started doing a new category of video started to show up, I would say, which is when you have stuff on the bench. And this isn't the first time that I've got an example of, right? But the FU tone install on the bench, it was kind of stood out in the timeline when you looked at it. Like there wasn't a lot of gear work on videos before that.
They were actually initially my initial gear videos, I believe, were actually live streams because that's what it would do. I would go live while working on a guitar on a Sunday afternoon, whether it be a restring or generally it was Or I fucked up the guitar last night at a gig, gotta fix it today,
Solar powered active pickups. That's funny.
Nice. Great at outdoor festivals. We need to be on at 2 p.m. I get the best tone at 2 p.m.
Billy Baloney has a funny comment there.
Exactly. It's history. Exactly that, Eddie.
Yeah, history is Ben's channel.
Well, and that I go back to being a local musician where, to make a living at it, you got to have your hand in 10 different pies.
Yeah.
And that's why the same thing with the channel was, interviews, gear demos, repairs, just all, anything and everything to do with guitar, which I don't know, maybe if I picked a single lane, the channel would actually be bigger because YouTube would know how to promote it. But
right.
Yeah.
And then we had Canucks with Guitars. That started up. And some of the first videos is like, hey, we're in the practice space, like showing off the space and stuff. Yep. As opposed to a setting for the show.
Which, if you look, the first episode was actually just an unboxing video with Rich as a guest. And then the next week, we had the title, possibly even the logo and theme song all within a week or two. We came up with all that stuff. Okay. The original theme song, which we no longer use. I don't even know if I have a copy.
So that's around August of 2018, apparently. And oddly enough, another first, JJ and Dave on a stream, community hang, in August 26, 2018.
Yep. Because up until that time, I'd done sporadic hangs. If anything, during the day, I remember like a Monday or Tuesday weekday, because Dave was home all day. That's how Nesnall and I became friends, because we used to talk on the phone, and I remember that because after having him on for the first time, it was just a quick show. I think it was only like 45 minutes to an hour or something. And then he went on his regular show that, following Friday, I think, or Wednesday at that time. And he's just like, are we going to talk about guitar? Like, and that time, nobody liked swearing. He goes, are we going to talk about fucking guitars? I was on with Ben the other day. We talked more guitars than half an hour there than I do a month on this channel.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh, dear God, I broke the show.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, he's right. That's, it's like, just like nowadays with Ryan on the OU crew, right? They figured out how to do a community play along that actually works and it's not out of sync and it sounds amazing.
Which was something you were researching back in 2018, I remember.
Yep. Yeah, I was playing with Jam Kazam back then. Mm-hmm. And you could play with others online. I had a drummer in Florida I jammed with, the
Blue Mox?
in Maine, and we made it work. You could do it, but it wasn't good to stream because you had to have like a 2-device setup.
Yeah.
Nowadays they have Jam Taba. It's a free open source thing. You can just go onto the website and click on it, and it's peer to peer. It works great, but they cracked it without that stuff. Because they take turns with the backing track. It's just so brilliant. But it's the same thing as when you're saying, like, are we going to talk about gear? It's like, yeah. And then at some point, like, somebody's like, are we going to play these things or just talk about them? And somebody did finally,
Right, Zach? Yeah, Metalhead Hippie.
Yep, there's a show with Metalhead Hippie and the links that I've got on a list. It's coming up. So I would say,
and I was going to say too. Yeah, I remember doing little things because the Canucks show was from Rich's basement, and people would be like, "Hey, do we see gear in the background?" We're like, "Yeah, this is actually our practice space too." And so again, I think one of the band members may have been running late, and so I just shot a quick little tour of our rehearsal space, kind of break down the fourth wall. Because people are asking, like, how do you... I'm like, well, we plug pedal boards into computers or into interfaces, and then we were using virtual amps through headphones with electronic drum kit.
Yep.
So, Yeah, I remember doing that. And then we tried to live stream a rehearsal, but then we didn't have the interface out. It was just like in the room, so you could hear us playing electric guitars acoustically, Shane hitting an electric drum kit, but you can't hear, so you're just hearing the same note on every pad, and us singing loudly over the guitar.
So about September of 2018, that's where something I think is kind of new. You had a signature guitar, the Reno Fin.
Right. Just to answer Josh's question, yes, I did one in Inverness Green. Put it the demo earlier this year. Yeah, they're pretty cheap though. Hey, Crowbar! What's up, buddy?
Came out of his cave.
Yes. So what? Sorry, what was the next thing you had mentioned there?
The Reno Fin, September
Right.
2018. I think that was the first product endorsement, kind of, so to speak.
Yes, that would have been definitely my first endorsement ever.
Yep.
And that was just, because Doug's wife is real. A guy who went to school with my sister from kindergarten right through 12th grade. I had taught at their public school while he was like 8th grade, right when he was learning guitar. And he's like, hey, can you show me a couple chords? I was like, yeah, sure, no big deal. And, and he remembered that. And he went and practiced and became really good and ended up being a guitar builder out on the West Coast. And
wow.
He's like, yeah, let's work together. I'm like, okay, sure, And again, I was looking for, I like having branding. I come from the NASCAR world, sponsorship, branding,
Yep.
tie-in, endorsements, things like that. Again, street cred. So I wanted a show sponsor. He didn't want to pay any money, so we just kind of did
Yep.
quid pro quo, as it were. And
nice looking telly too. And there was a special pickup in there, right? You kind of specced out the pickup.
We did. Where's the second guitar? There's the guitar. Well, the funny thing was, when it came to the pickups, that was kind of Rich's idea, and the reason being was he's like, you already got single coils, you already got actives, you already got a humbucker telly, you don't have P90 telly. I'm like, I don't. So then, basically, what you're looking at is a P90 Les Paul that looks like a Telecaster.
I love the pick guard on that.
Right?
That's killer.
Yeah. And a slight arm carve because I was sick of burning my arm.
Yep. I did that to my telly too.
No gut cut.
I did the gut cut too. Just
I didn't need one at the time. I could fucking use one now.
Yeah, I just took a belt sander and contoured it out.
And then later, because I wasn't hooked up with Tesi Switch yet, not to spoil, but later they came with Tesi Switches because I since become a Tesi Switch artist.
Yeah. Nice place to put it on the telly guard too, and on that plate. That's a cool place.
Right? Well, yeah, there's that gap there, so it just fit perfectly.
Yeah, it's almost like it should be there from the beginning.
Well, I got that idea because Brent Mason has the third knob there to blend in his middle pickup volume. So,
yep. And I remember a vlog that really kind of remembered. So I it's kind of silly, but on October 2018, you did a 5 things you may not know about Ben.
Oh,
do you remember that?
No.
Yeah, it's a real short video. Pretty funny. I could put a link to it if people want to see it, so I don't spoil it. Because then otherwise it's like I'm Chris Farley, right? Hey, remember that? Remember the list? Remember that time? I don't know if you need to approve it, but
Oh, there it is. There, hang on.
Stuck it in.
Why don't we? All right, we don't. We'll just mute it to let the ads play. We'll play it for the folks. It's my video, so I can show it. Oh Jesus! Oh, I don't have short hair. It's just a ponytail. Okay. Woo! All right, so we'll go like that. And we'll go over here. What do I present? You can order one bow from renofin.ca. I'm not sure how many were made. Share screen.
Did you ever get any in Arden's or any of those stores?
We had talked about it, but then Arden's got kind of flaky on stuff, as they do. Just maybe one of the reasons I'm now doing videos at Long McQuaid. We don't know. All right, so clearly at the vape shop, you can tell because there's a uniform, but off hours, because I'm not wearing it. All right, here we go, folks.
Hey, gang. 5 things you didn't know about me as a musician. Starring me. Item number 1. I started playing in bands 6 years ago. Prior to that, I was a sound man. Item number 2. I played in 4 bands over the last 6 years, including stints in 3 of which with Richie. There you go. I even have notes. Third item on the list. I've only been playing lead guitar for 18 months. Prior to that, I was just strictly a rhythm guitar player. Excuse me. Fourth item is my favorite genre of music to play. Rock and roll. Pure rock and roll. Bluesy rock and roll. Let's call it that. And the last item on my list today is my 3 most influential guitar players. They would be Izzy Stradlin, Ronnie Wood, and Rick Richards. And there you have it, folks. 5 things you may or may not have known about me as a musician. Rock on. Peace. If you like what we do, please subscribe. Thanks.
Way too mellow in that.
But the thing that struck me about it was how different it was from previous content.
Right?
It was kind of Veda-ish, but not really, like almost like, oh, there's these must be lists going around where people say things about themselves, like maybe Robert Baker did one, and like it was a trend at the time.
Yeah, I have no idea why I would have done that. And that list of guitar players can change, that's for sure.
Yep.
Way less gray in the beard, that's for sure. Jeez, Louise.
Yeah, for sure. That's what happens. So October 2018, you had Tone King and Shane on a hangout.
Mm-hmm.
So things are starting to really cook, I think.
I think that was the second time Tone King had been on.
Yeah. That sounds right.
Now, there you go. See, I like this because it's like hanging out with Trev in many ways. You're sparking ideas and stories, Mike, which I know
excellent.
Love to do. Sound engineer travel across the river. Well, if I get I could mix sound for you if I get a passport, Bo. But I had wanted to have the Tone King on for a while, and as one did at that time, because I was Mr. Goody Two Shoes, for the 8 p.m. Sunday show, I would go and get set up in my old studio by 7 p.m. Smoke a joint at 7 so I can mellow out in time for 8 o'clock. Right? So I think it was around 6:30 p.m. I decided I'm going to email the Tone King and just, see about him coming on a show. And so I emailed him at around 6:30, 6:45. Went out, smoked my joint at 7. Had a show planned with Johnny Bean that night.
Right.
And so sent Johnny the link, because I sent Johnny the link an hour before the show instead of his usual 2.5 minutes before the show.
Yeah.
It's just a fact, folks. I'm not throwing Johnny under the bus because it's a fact. Anybody that knows, that's why he was never ever on time starting a show. Hey, John. And so I went out, smoked my joint. At about 10 after 7, I heard back. Sure. Love to. Awesome. Tone King.
Yep.
90,000 subs or something like that, Mike. That's awesome. So then it got to, he goes, it's hard to plan, though, because I never know when I'm available with Life with the Kids. That's why he always goes live at like midnight, because that's the time he was able to.
On a Friday night back then, I think, usually.
So then at about 7:30, we agreed, fuck it, I'll come on tonight. I'm like, all right. I'm like, Johnny's been known to randomly have extra people on his panel show, so what the hell? And so, everybody jumps on about 5 minutes before the show. I introduced Johnny to Tone King. They didn't know each other. Of course, lots of mutual friends. Just off the top of my head, both Steve from Boston and Phil McKnight, both mutual friends, because both Steve and Phil have appeared on Johnny's channel previously. That's how I knew, right? There's a lot of weaves, folks, back in the day. There's a lot of YouTube channels, apparently. So everybody appeared on everybody. So we did a show, let's say an hour and a half, 2 hour show as usual, Mike, and by that time I had my closing, hold those doors open, let that guy in ahead of traffic, blah, blah, blah. And the reason I mention that is we end the show, and Tone Key says, Ben, I said, yeah. He says, I like that closing. Like, I really like that. I really like that. He says, do you have your phone handy? Here's my number. If you ever need anything, blah, 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 keep in touch.
Yep.
And I'm like, kind of a humming, okay, thanks. And so he had to jump off right away. And so Johnny and I were sitting there, and I don't want Johnny to sound vain or anything, Mike, but Johnny's not an overly emotional person. Like, I'm pretty sure he's on the spectrum somewhere.
Okay. I know I am.
Yeah. I honestly, I think we all are. Otherwise, we'd be working 9 to 5 jobs wearing, suits.
I might be way down, though.
So, and no, Johnny just said, I want to thank you for that. And I went, well, what? He says, the Tone King is one of the few people I haven't met in the YouTube world. I'd seen him at NAMM shows, but I never got a chance to meet him. That was really awesome. Thanks. And I'm just like, cool. I did that. Little old me, yeah, no problem. We were good friends, appearing on both each other's channels quite often at that point. So, I was more than happy to do it. And then later, I think that was one or the other. It was either Shane was scheduled or Tone King was scheduled to come on. The other showed up in the chat. They say, hey, send them a link. Because generally, if it was part of that group, Steve from Boston, like say Phil, Tone King, Shane, they all had that kind of early days fraternity thing. I think it's from a GetCon or something like that. Like they'd all met previously, so they all knew.
Pre-GetCon.
Yeah, pre-GetCon. Because GetCon was 2018. So
yeah, no, this was pre.
So yeah, and no, I know Shane had come to Massachusetts on a trip, and he met Steve. Yep. And then I think doing hangs together, they know each other, right? Like, especially Shane and Tone King, those are two of the OGs for gear demo channels. Like they were long before. I always say, and I don't know if you agree with this, Mike. There's two ways to use YouTube. It could be either like Google, where you're just like, what does a Phase 90 sound like? Boom, you watch the video, you get your information, you move on. You're not subbing to that guy. You're not leaving a comment. You might leave a like at most, but you're just, it's just Google. It's just information. Whereas this is more like Facebook. This is definitely, social media. We have a community. We have friendships. Hey, that's my sister.
Well, there's people here like Ferd and BC Rich and Steve and Hockey, like Sean Hockey. There's real people.
Exactly.
Amanda.
And that's where it's more like Facebook, or something like that, where it's more community or social. Yeah. And that's the two things, like we were talking off air, like with the gear demos, there's a whole crowd that watches that. They don't interact here, but here interacts there. But, it's different circles. What's up, Coots?
No, so this is a good time for me to plug the memberships, because I have members to only a couple of channels. I support who I like. I watch who I support, right? Sure. It's just, money doesn't grow on trees, but you want to, I believe in what you do, Ben, because you're doing it as a whole thing. You're all in. You know what I mean?
Call. Yeah.
And I really appreciate that, because it's a big part of my week to hang out with everybody here that's in the chat, like Zach, and you know what I mean? It's a big deal. So with the membership on your channel,
right.
And I know you kind of probably saw it from some maybe non-music channels were doing this as like a PayPal premium. You'd have like a hang with, 50 people. So I mean, it's not new, but it's unique in the guitar community as far as
that. Yeah. We want to know what the history of that is.
Okay.
So I was trying to figure out when I set up Patreon before the membership even.
Yeah.
Because at that time you had to have 30,000 subs to have channel members.
Okay.
But anybody can have Patreon. And so for the various tiers, I was looking for exclusive videos. Okay, do that. And that's the week, that would be the vlog video I'll do every month. Okay. Interaction, I think on social media, we got that. And then I put was like a community hang, monthly hang, live stream of some kind.
Yep.
And the way I figured it was, one, nobody ever called me on it, Mike, for like fucking a year and a half, 2 years. Nobody mentioned it as part of their benefit package. And I thought, well, if I have 6 people, okay, I can do it within StreamYard or Google Hangouts because it handles 10 people. We're okay. And then I was able to do memberships, and then we got, let's say, 20 to 25 patrons. We've got 30 or so members at the time. And I was hanging out here. Actually, what started was, I'm not going to say who it was, but somebody in the chat who became a channel member, Mike, said, hey, if I shoot you a few bucks, can I come on post show on a Sunday show? At the time, a fella's wallet was a little thin, not gonna lie. So I'm like, sure. Yep. You wanted to meet Charles Green, really. That's what it was. Wanted to meet Charles Green. So then, which turned in, and I'm not, but and then he transferred. So I'm like, okay, thanks. And that which turned into hanging out offline, as one does, like doing these virtual hangs, but offline, just, because that started during COVID. And then it just became, because as we become friends and stuff, we're doing more offline hangs. And then he's like, so, see here, it says in the benefits package there, Michael. Fella gets a live stream. When does that happen? I don't see the link for that ever. And I've been a member for like fucking 6 months. And I'm like, well, nobody ever called me out on it, mentioned on it. So fortunately, our friend Charles, Dr. Fabric himself, said, hey, I host Zoom crap all the time for work. Yeah, you did, Bo. And you never called me out on the lack of live streams for exclusive for them. But so we organized between Trev and Charles and myself. Whoops, threw Trev's name under the bus. Anyways, Trev became a good friend, and Charles said, I can host those. And then we started doing what's been known as the Water Buffalo meeting for channel members. Started as once a month, and then we switched it to twice a month because not everybody's available on a Saturday afternoon. So we did a Wednesday evening as well. And that's been going, at least a couple years now, I'd say.
Yeah, but it's really cool to hang out with, knowing it's not live, but it's also a hangout. It's just kind of chill and fun, and there's no agenda. And, watch, someone bring out a new guitar or working on an engine, Josh.
Yeah, and it's funny, like, let's say if a hang is 2 hours, sometimes it might only be 20 minutes of guitar talk in 2 hours.
Yep.
And the rest of it is literally if we were all hanging out in a room together, shooting the shit. Bunch of middle-aged white dudes, It's my demographic, Hey, thanks, Matt. We've just got 5 more people joining the fun now. Let's see here. My sister. Then we've got Haley Ryan. Welcome, Haley. That's a new name in the chat. You haven't seen Eston Ray. 60 Cycle Steve. And Jason Robinson. Another new name in the chat. I haven't seen. Lurkers. I like when the lurkers get them because the lurkers become less lurky. I've noticed, Mike.
So just to keep things flowing too, November of 2018, we see Dave Nesdahl and Caleb coming on the hangs.
Mm-hmm. Half King of the Hill, half Red Green show. Yeah, that's true. Fixed. Sure, his sister gets picked, right?
Shortly after that was Sean Pierce Johnson in December.
Yeah, because Sean and I had connected through YouTube and Facebook, I think.
Oh, wait, I forgot somebody in November. China Guitar Skeptic.
China Mike.
China Mike.
So, China Mike, here's an interesting one, Michael B. As most people would think, especially the fact because I own a few Chibsons, that I was a follower of China Mike, for blah, 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 years and years. And then we became friends. Not the case. Actually, when it came to Chibson knowledge, I got that all from, as people are saying in here, Pixie Licks, a.k.a. Steve from Boston.
Pixie Licks,
That's where I learned about the Chibsons, was from him. I'm doing at that time was the Thursday show, not the Monday show. Oh, my sister gifted a membership to somebody. Who got that? Adam D. Nice. Yeah, tell me about. And recently, Mike / Lance's wife has been posting some stuff on Facebook. So I've been seeing photos and stuff, which makes me miss even more. So at that time, the Monday show was originally a Thursday show. And so Richie and I were there, and there was this guy in the chat, China Guitar Skeptic. And I'm like, well, that's a funny name. Wonder what he's all about. He seemed, kind of cool. Doesn't say a whole lot in the chat. Right? Didn't know. I'm like, all right. And at that time, you remember anybody in a chat, you could click on someone's name and choose go to channel.
Yeah.
Right? They got rid of that. Why? You know why they got rid of that, Mike? Because they didn't want us all subbing each other, because they don't want everybody monetizing their channels, because then YouTube doesn't get to keep all the money.
Right, because it goes against their algorithm.
Right? Because, folks, you might have, 100 subs and you put out a video. Guess what? There's still ads on it. You just don't get paid. Sometimes there's no ads. But anyway, so I chucked out China Mike's channel. And I'm like, and at that time, I think he had 20,000 subs.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, who's this guy? And why is he watching me with my 500 subs? But he liked the vibe. And part of it was, I think, Tone King had told me when I had him on for the first time, to circle back, Mike, was I said, because the Tone King referenced one of my videos, and I said, how would you know? He goes, well, I've seen your videos. I was like, you're aware of me? He said, and his response was, we're all aware of you.
Yes.
Which was funny because I know at that time, although I've never been part of one, a lot of group chats in the Facebook days between YouTubers. And so, and I realized at some point, I'm going to show up on everyone's homepage at some point. And I guess China Mike had discovered me early, like summer of 2018.
Wow.
And so it was funny. And then we'll flash forward to, we're doing, I don't know if it's going to come up or not, but in that fall during GitCon, we're doing a live show from Arden's.
Yep.
And I said, I wonder if China Mike will show up, because knowing him and Steve from Boston will be closing the bar in the hotel and then get back to the room about now, blah, blah, blah. And sure enough, hey, there's Mark and Larry. What's up? So then China Mike shows up. I'm like, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be asleep? You're in Germany, right? And he's like, me and Steve just got back. I'm like, fucking knew it. And so I remember talking with him, and it was funny because he's like, I'm dropping your name at GitCon, because he knew I'd love to be at GitCon. Okay. And so he says, "Oh yeah, having breakfast today. Dropped your name at the breakfast table." I said, "Oh really?" For shits again, I'm like, "Who did you mention me to?" He says, "Just so you know, I mentioned you to Steve from Boston, the Tone King, and Shane from In the Blues." I'm like, "Fuck me, those are the 3 people who already know me
Yep.
at that event." I'm like, can you mention it to literally anybody else? Anybody else? While you're there, anybody else? Because at that time, near that first GitCon, they had Phil X was there, Pete Thorne, Dan and Mick from that pedal show, Phil McKnight, Mary Spender was there, Gearman dude, like
Jason from Ibanez McNamara.
and of course Henning, because Henning had organized it.
Which I've been on birthday hangs with you with Jason McNamara and Tone King and Stevie Shred Snacks or whatever. I forget Anthony. Yeah. Texas. What is he called?
That wasn't with me. No, we met Anthony on one of Shane's hangs.
Yeah, but he came on a birthday show too.
No, he hasn't been on my channel yet.
Oh, really? No, I was on with him once. I'm pretty sure it was like a March. It was It was not pre-birthday.
I will say though, you're thinking because the first birthday hang, which Mike's one of the few that's alumni of multiples, was 2019 because the 2018 birthday hang was actually over on Johnny's channel.
Okay.
Where I managed to get very drunk on Johnny's channel. And then Nesdal and Jay Hannon both dared me to play guitar. No way! The guy's hammered. He can't even talk. Listen, because I was drinking the moonshine and my jaw had gone numb.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I can play guitar. And I picked it up and played. And they're like, I don't understand how you play guitar that drunk. I was like, I've played in bands I didn't like being in. And you end up playing drunk a lot when you're in a band you don't want to be in.
It's an experience thing. You have to practice.
Yeah, exactly. Muscle memory.
You have to practice that way to get.
But then, and then the next year we did the birthday hang. You, me, and Aaron, and Aaron booked all the guests.
Yep.
Oh, and another guy who then became known by just strictly his last name because it was "Shut the fuck up" with his last name because he kept talking over McNamara and Henning. Because we ended up the end of the night, we're all fucked up while Henning was having his morning coffee in Germany.
Yep.
Cheers, Crowbar.
Yeah, so I mean, you were cooking at that time. Like, then you had Mike Bradley, December of 2018.
Yep.
Steve from Boston, February 2019. Like, it just kept coming.
Well, and part of that, again, I was doing because on my day off, I was working a lot at the vape shop, but I would get random weekdays off, and that's when I started booking European guests. And I had a lot of, I was doing that more than as much, if not more than the Sunday night stuff at that time, because the Sunday night thing wasn't totally regular yet.
Right.
Until, I'd say it started around May, because then we started doing the round table monthly and then all through 2018. So
yeah.
But then I would do these, Tuesday during the day, and that would be the Mike Bradley or Vlad from Catpick Studios or Henning. Couple of times because that's how Aaron found the channel, was me interviewing Henning. It's like, who is this guy and how does he have Henning on?
Yeah. No, I mean, you definitely had a brand before all that, like before you started meeting all those people. So by the time they met you, they were like, oh yeah, that's that guy from Canada. Canucks with really sold it, and you have a unique look too. So it really, really Johnny Fever.
I was way more tame. I barely swore, dipped a bit of booze, definitely didn't partake in anything else on air. And then we said, fuck it. Eventually I'm like, screw it. Because then I realized, because a lot of the people, they would do the false embarrassment when they get a super chat. Oh, you don't have to. I'm like, well, why do you have it enabled? The false modesty about, I'm like, oh, I'm like, easy, the only person I allow for that was China Mike, because China Mike sounded so endearing no matter what. Yeah. Although, off air, potty mouth, that man.
So Steve from Boston, too.
Steve, too. And Phil McKnight, for that. Actually, all of them. They're all a bunch of potty mouths.
I know, but Steve from Boston has the best accent. I mean, I'm biased, right? listen to me talk, right? But I just, the way he swears, I'd be used to. Like, you
him
know,
about the food poisoning at NAMM. He never told the story as well on air as when he told it to JJ and me at the NAMM show the next day. Because it was, bro, let me tell. Oh, I was dying, bro. I was dying. He's telling me he's calling down the front desk to see if they have any saltines because he thought he might be able to keep them down.
I hope to be at a show someday. You know, like I saw Iron Maiden this year. Not Iron Maiden, I'm sorry, Queensryche. I saw Iron Maiden a different time, but saw Queensryche this year, and I'm like, I'm gonna bump into somebody like Steve from Boston at a show like this.
It'll happen.
It's gonna happen.
Yep.
So after that is I think this is one of the first things I could find. I'm just gonna say Quentin fucking James. Birthday community hang. So it was I don't know whose birthday. It was Quentin's birthday. And it was March 3rd, 2019. So that's the earliest Quentin I could find.
I hosted Quentin's birthday?
Yeah. And he wasn't in the show until like 15 minutes in. So
he fell asleep.
Yeah, and then you guys made fun of it, like, I guess we should let him in. It is his birthday hang, you know. And then it took him like 5 minutes to actually click and come in. And
well, I think because he became part of the round table.
Yeah,
I remember that. Yes.
Yep.
What's up, Dwight Bailey?
And it's funny because there's whole segments that I couldn't even find, like I'll just say R2 era. You know,
that would be just round tables.
Okay, but I couldn't really find, like, I wanted to grab one, you know.
Also, his birthday.
Yeah.
We did on 2018 from the vape shop. There's Charles 75N.
That is Charles. Oh, yeah. That is Charles. Oh, yeah.
My sister's comment. When do I come in? Because clearly that's when it all got good.
I do have some Amandas in here, but it wasn't your first one, but it was a big event. So that's coming up. Then we had Rob Johnson, March 2019.
Sure.
He was showing off some of his amazing Van Halen recreations, right?
Yeah. Yes, folks, I wish the clip was louder, but, you know. What are you going to do? I made the clip the other night at midnight while high as fuck, so.
There you go.
Because it came on the TV, and I just screen grabbed it with the phone. I should have turned up the volume on said TV. Anyways, yes, Rob Johnson. Sure.
You know?
Yeah, a lot of community members right from the start. I will say some things that happened in 2018. Those daytime hangs was one of them being one of the first people I ever had on being Caleb, where he broke the whole Nerd Halen concept.
Yep, that's coming.
Right? Or was that in 2019 he finally got around to that? I thought it was 2018.
I'm just looking.
2018.
I have some Caleb stuff coming, but it's probably not that. So you did, you know how there's several times over the years you've done different things, like different interests are showed. Like, well, here's one I thought was really cool was Dad's car. So March 15, 2019. I'm gonna pop that in there.
Nice.
That was cool. You went around the car,
right?
And I always remembered that.
Up for sale.
Yep.
So, give me all the money for it, folks, because I'm going to change that into a Murphy Lab. That's
that's a nice plan.
That's what I thought. Murphy Labs don't rust, Mike. Just saying. Murphy Labs don't rust.
Yeah, we know. I'm in New England. I know about rust.
Right.
We got salt water.
Exactly.
Okay, so Vedas, we were talking about that earlier. The first appearance I can find of a Veda was April 1st, 2019.
No.
That's the first one I saw. That could be.
I said there used to be a Veda playlist on the channel, but I don't know.
There is. I didn't look in there.
Yeah, that would be because 2018 is when I stopped doing them in 2019.
Okay, so this is
the April 2019 was the last ones I did.
Okay.
But yeah, because the whole point of vlog every day was to get you more comfortable in front of the camera, and so that's why I did it.
I did that one too. I did that same one. I saw you doing it. I said, "Oh, I'll do it."
Because I remember Laz kind of doing it, but I think he did every other day. I'm like, no, there's an E. There's an E there. That's every.
Yep. So I don't know
if Vioda, whereas every other day.
Right. I don't think anybody's going to be surprised to hear like how many amazing guests you've had over the years. But like in April 2019, you had the Guitar Geek. That's Andy. He's awesome. Andy's so cool.
Yeah, I think we did a couple. I think Andy and I have done a couple. I could be wrong.
That was the first one I could find.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but
no, he showed up again for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. No, you're right. He was on multiple times. And then just as a random silly thing, there was I'll let people look it up for themselves, but on April 12th, 2019, you had a video, basically I'm going to call the dick pic. Because it was my way of bringing up that you do the unboxings, which are cool. And you all yep. So
not that I keep a dick pic handy at all times.
But I just wanted to bring up the concept of one of the styles of your videos is an unboxing. And you over the years at times done some really
very fortunate
around unboxings or shipping, and let's just say
I've been very fortunate that this community has always been willing to send me shit.
Yep. I personally have myself. I know that.
Yep. Which yes, the looper that you had sent me is part of that Explorer over there.
Yep. That's great. Because I was like, I know you don't like loopers, but if you want to trade it, I'll say.
Yeah, you're like, do whatever with it. I'm like, all right. And then I remember, like, they take Boss pedal. Every place will take a Boss pedal every day of the week. Yep. So I took it a bunch.
I had a bigger one.
No, sorry. Ironically, no. It went into the deal on the Bass 6. That's what it was the Bass 6.
Squire. Yeah.
And I thought, which was ironic, because I thought, you play a lot of bass, so.
Yep.
The pedal gets turned into a bass that's also a guitar, which you play bass and guitar. So, like, I almost named the damn bass Michael B.
I have to say, I really have chosen for a Bass 6 for a long time.
We'll call it the Michael B 6.
Because I play bass on guitar and I play guitar on bass. Like, I play them the same way. And I don't play either one.
I love it. That's why I love your playing, because it's so different than mine. It's so abstract compared to how I play, and I love it for that.
That's why I can't play covers very well, because I have to play like me. So I get so bored trying to do something else. It's just an attention thing,
You'll be right there, Eddie. He says someone's going to write your biography. You should hire Michael B. Then do interviews together. Your pre-YouTube anecdotes. Oh, talk about. Considering 99% of my playing career was done prior to YouTube, like say the 6 years prior to YouTube, essentially, because the band broke up and the last band broke up April of 2019.
Oh, okay. Which was, this time, that's the dick pic time.
Yeah, because the whole point, we moved the Thursday show to Mondays for band practice because we realized we had to practice on Thursday nights. So I moved the show to Mondays. And then the band broke up like the next fucking week. And I'm like, God damn it. And then already somebody else had stolen my 8 p.m. Thursday time slot.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mention any names, Guitar Hack, but,
let's see. Yeah, I've been jonesing for a Bass 6. I almost had one made. I had a guy I hosted a website for in Detroit, E-Man Guitars. Mm-hmm. I used to host his website. Because he finished a bass that I had made and got allergic to. I couldn't finish it because it was almost killed me. Ooh. So online in a forum, he's like, hey, I'll build it. I sent it to him and he finished it. But
That would be the summer of 2019, Bo, because it was I already bought my Wolfgang and the Music Man because I wrote the song on the Wolfgang, and I bought my first LPD 87. And when I plugged it in, I got that tone. That's how that song was written. That guitar with that pedal. It was so heavy and chuggy that I wrote Greasy Weasel pretty much then and there. It was fast.
Yep. So going with Amanda's thing, jokes about, chronicling and all that. May to June of 2019 was really special because, like, having Amanda on the show a lot, guess who was on the show in May of 2019?
My mom.
Mother's Day.
Yep.
And in June, Father's Day. It was a family thing, and everyone sees that.
We did a Father's Day show in 2018. I didn't do a Mother's Day show in 2018 as I didn't really think of it at that time. But then my mom was like, "Why would you want me on? I'd have no reason." I'm like, "Trust me, like she's got enough experience." But yeah, those became the tradition when they still are, even though they're no longer here. Where my sister and cousin Doug have taken over the roles of my mother and father. Yep. That sounds weird, but whatever.
And right in the middle of that,
year I don't have to book a guest. Basically, that's what I'm saying.
Not any less special. Special in a different way. Rob from Tesi Switch was May of 2019 as well, right in the middle of those two.
Nice. And I got to meet Rob. Jeez, wow! It's weird how much shit happened in 2019. Now that I'm thinking about it, Michael, like starting in January with NAMM, right, and then between like NAMM at the end of January and Summer NAMM, mid-July, end of July. A lot of stuff happened.
Yeah.
In those 6 or 7 months, including the band breaking up, but a lot of guests.
Yep.
Friendships created, because I ended up going to Summer NAMM, basically where I met. Well, the reason I thought is because I met Rob from Tesi during Summer NAMM at a party.
I'll just say
he didn't actually go to Summer NAMM, but he came over to Novo Guitars one night.
Yep.
And was hanging out at the party there because he knew some people that worked there, and that was the night where RJ and Rhett Shull both got their first signature Novos. Yep.
Just to back up a tiny bit, that's when we meet Aaron, I think, June of 2019 for planning the Summer NAMM plans, right?
Nope. He was on the birthday show in May, so it would have been...
Okay, so he was early in that.
But then again, that might have been his first time on the channel was the birthday show, too.
Wow.
Like, I don't recall whether or not we did. Hey, Javel!
Yeah, people don't know who Aaron is. You gotta get to learn him. Albus Band.
He's a pretty regular now, right? Between having the band and him individually on. That's for sure.
Yep. So that's when right. I've got video here with you meeting Rhett Shull. Whole bunch of stuff with Aaron at that time, like vlogs and travel vlogs.
Yeah, because I flew from Toronto to Chicago, and then we drove from Chicago down to Nashville, and then we stayed. Which, I was doing it with a grain of salt, Mike. The whole thing, like I'd met Eric, we did a couple of hangs like this, and he's like, come out to Chicago, we'll drive down, we get my buddy, he works at Premier Guitar, we'll stay at his place, and I'm just like, right, sure. And even driving down to Nashville, I had a credit card on me as a backup to rent a hotel room. Because I'm like, we're not going to be hanging out at some dude from... I'm like, who are you? You're not some rock star, Aaron. But then you realize once you meet Aaron and become friends with Aaron, you're friends for life. Yeah.
And he is a rock star.
And he is a rock star. He's just one of the lesser known rock stars. And then we go, and then we're hanging out at Perry's house from Premier Guitar, who at that time did a handful of rig rundowns, but is now him, Chris, and Mike Bollinger. They're the three main people. And I was hanging, and it was Bollinger's old house that we stayed at, and Chris Keys was over because I borrowed his air mattress for me to sleep on. And I'm like, you two, I was watching rig rundown videos fucking on the way down here. This is a trip.
Yeah. Yep.
And it wasn't that I was starstruck. It was just I was really high, and it was hard to wrap my head around.
Yep. Yep. So speaking of gear demos, probably one of the coolest. You always love Telecasters, right?
I do.
One of the coolest Telecasters we had for our demonstration was the Jimmy Page Tele.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to curse me with that one that I played in Carter's in Nashville that still haunts me.
No, this is the one. This is a personal favorite of mine.
That was the Mexican release. What?
It had the dragon paint.
Yes.
That's
exactly
that was my favorite Tele that I've ever seen you play.
My favorite was from that summer NAMM trip, which was a 57 Tele at Carter's that had a V-neck like a Martin guitar, and it was amazing. And it was priced at like 26, 28 grand, Mike. And let's be honest, for a 50s Tele, even though that was pretty relic, that's still cheap. Because if you can find one for under 30, 35, you're ahead of the game. And that's it literally haunts me still 5 years later.
Yeah. You can get player grade less. There's always
it was no more beat up than my 67, that's for sure. If not less. I think it was cleaner than my 67.
Yeah. So to continue the story with your partnerships and sponsorships and collaborations, right? That's the first I could see of LPD Pedals was September of 2019.
Yep.
Entered Lawrence Pedals.
So I had met Lawrence actually at NAMM in 2019 in January because he was hanging out with Phil. And then talking to him basically in Phil's chat. And then he started watching my channel as well. And then I was in Phil's chat and he's like, "What are you into?" I was like, "I don't know." Like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, what do you do? What kind of game do you like?" So I'm into Klons. I like Klon style circuit. He goes, "All right." He says, "Email me." I'm like, "All right." And he's like, "What's your address?" And he sent me back there the Saguaro Boost, single knob, Klon, dirty boost.
Yep.
Free of charge. I'm like, again, I don't have much of a channel, Mike. I've been monetized, but 1,000 subs, but he liked the community aspect of it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, and I loved it. And actually, he sent that to me in the spring of 2019 because it went on the board just as the band broke up.
Aha.
I remember that.
Isn't it funny how you can remember things that coincide with
because it's got Velcro on it, and I wanted a boost, and I was like, "Oh, that's my lead boost." Are you kidding me?
Yep.
Rich fell in love with it and stuff because I remember him checking it out. I think he was checking it around the same time he got his Reno Fin, which was that summer, as a wedding gift. Ironically enough, his wedding.
I had
was
a
not
Dutch
stressed
for a while.
with that.
I loved it.
He loved it. He loved the idea, handmade guitar. As his wedding gift. She did not like that.
Really?
Yeah. Well, because she doesn't know how to play. So she's like, "Isn't that really just a gift for him?" I'm like, "Well, this is what I'm doing." So
sounds like a great gift to me.
Yeah. 2019 was crazy. And then I was moved in here by the end of the year.
Oh wow! I couldn't tell from the videos where that changed. I kind of it changed.
Yeah, I basically started. I was here right by around Halloween 2019 because I stayed here for Halloween in case we had a trick or treater. I had one. It was my fucking niece. I gave her all the candy.
Yeah. So the next big thing is 2020 January, which is the Winter NAMM Show.
Right.
And
who knew?
The big video from that event was the Caleb playing that 5150, right?
That was a huge deal. Yeah, we had talked about that on the Buffalo meeting, the genesis of that, because Mike's like, "I was looking at your channel. You got some popular demos, but that one's kind of right up there." And I was like, "Yes." And what happened was I wanted, because the Eddie Van Halen guys I swear they're on YouTube the entire time during NAMM, just going refresh, hoping for an EVH-based video of something new from EVH. What's going to be the new? Because there was a new guitar. The previous year was a Shark guitar. What's it going to be this year? And we had heard, it's going to be a Frankie replica. What? Yeah. And so I was like, I need to get a demo shot, no matter how crappy it is, and get it up, by the evening of day one of NAMM. So night on the East Coast, but yes, it was, because Mark helped me move. So I was waiting for Aaron, but Aaron flaked out because Aaron was supposed to shoot my video for me. But he got distracted by, I don't know, some pedal builder or something. And so Caleb and I were standing around waiting for him. And then Caleb's just, so, well, will you shoot my video? He said, well, will you shoot me? Because he was started to promote the Nerd Halen thing. The band wasn't complete yet, but he had merch. So, getting the concept out there. And I said, sure, I'll shoot you, you shoot me. And the lighting got fixed up just the way I was holding my phone, cupping it. We'll do it that way, you can see. Yeah. So it looked more like stage colored lighting, and it really filtered it well. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I'm holding it here. And that's why I was like, how's the neck feel, Kale? You hear me yell. He's like, good. And that's all he says. And I'm like, really, dude? It's a demo. Right? But clearly Caleb doesn't do demos, right? So he's like, and he's doing all his licks. And then I thought to myself, you know what, Mike? I'm just going to put this on my channel, and he can put the same video on his channel, and we'll call it a night. Who cares?
Kind of hard to follow up,
So then I said to him, I said, hey, can I put that on my channel instead of me playing? And he's like, all right. I won't bother putting on my channel because you have the much bigger channel. And so I put it up, and it was doing okay. Like it had a bump. Let's say it was getting 100 to 200 views a day, which is really good. That's really good, because usually I'll put up a demo, it'll get 100 views the first day, and let's say 10 views a day going forward for the next month. So 100 a day, great, And then when I was leaving NAMM, Van Halen News Desk did their wrap and like the highlights of NAMM, according to Eddie Van Halen fanboys. Sure, we'll call it that. And one of the first things, fuck this dude named Caleb, some fucking Nerd Halen bullshit thing. I don't know. Some guy named Coombs put it up. I don't know. I think he's Canadian. Don't really know. And so they linked the video in. And so I get off the plane, off the delete on the airplane mode as I'm taxiing in, and phone, it's Caleb texting me, goes, buddy, holy crap, eh? And I'm like, what? And then he's like, yeah, I can't. He's like, wow, 10,000. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I open up the algorithms, and because it went and 10,000, it was like 10,000 views in the first day or something like that. It was ridiculous. And then that video was the number one video on the channel for the next year, I'd say.
Yep.
Until the little drummer pedal decided to finally overtake it.
So I did paste a link in the chat. I don't know if it got through yet, or for that Caleb video. Not that anybody should go away now, but you could bookmark it for later.
There you go. Yeah. A collab, I guess they would call that. That was a YouTube collaboration.
That's right.
Which was funny, multitasking, Mike, because I take advantage. It's like I would get mocked for all the selfies I would take at NAMM. But if you notice how many selfies I use as thumbnails for Sunday night shows,
they look great.
That's why I do it. It's not just that, hey, I'm at NAMM hanging out with Michael B. It's no, because then going forward, every time I have you on, I got the thumbnail of the photo of the two of us that I can put up. And so while I airdropped the video to Caleb to edit, that demo video, and then while he was editing it, I went over, met Ryan Burke from 60 Cycle Hum, took a selfie with him, and booked him for the show.
Yep. 60 Cycle Hum guys. Yep.
Yeah. Which reminds me, I gotta book somebody for next week. Who do we got in the chat here? Hey, Joe Alba, how's it going?
Another interesting community hang at that time in February 2020 was Bent Tom, Metalhead Hippie, and Preston Smith.
Yes, that's an interesting group of people right there. Tom, I had met through RJ. For those who don't know, Bent Tom went to college with RJ, and so he was in RJ's live chats when RJ would go live. Before he even did he used to do an evening show before he even did it was a weekday evening, like Tuesday evenings or something like that. Tuesdays or Wednesdays back in the day. And then, Hippie, he's a member of the community. And then Preston Smith, another member of the community.
Yep.
And Tom, Tom's like a brother, another one of those guys that
Exactly.
Tom and I became very close. We still were texting earlier today.
March of 2020 as well, you had RJ on, so I'm sure that was planned, before that.
Oh yeah, that would have been not even the first time he was on.
Right.
I'm trying to think because I think he may have been on prior to meeting in person, like prior to NAMM 2019, Summer NAMM that is. But I know because I met him there, and then I went to the party with him. And because we had become friends by that. I was a moderator already for him. And we become friends online type thing. And I think we did a hang together. And then, and then I remember running into him at NAMM 2020. Because one of the few guys I have multiple selfies with. So,
yeah.
Because I remember, too, he included me in his NAMM vlog for Summer NAMM 2019. It was funny because he had titles that would come up.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember it was like kind of a B-roll. It was RJ and I walking up and shaking hands that somebody else was shooting the footage of. And it just came up and said, Ben Coombs, a Canuck with guitars.
That's awesome. Yep.
Yeah.
So right around that time was the 4+ hour birthday show, May of 20.
Mm-hmm. We're all locked down, Mike. We had nowhere else to go. Might as well do a 4-hour live hang.
I know there were longer ones. I couldn't find them. I was looking through the live tab, and I know there was, like the ones you talked about earlier where you were up with JJ until 3 or 4 in the morning.
I think, that one, Michael Smith and JJ and a bunch of others. That was, I think, the line. I think that was like 5:45 live.
Right. And so June 20, you had Dave and Ty on.
Right.
And then
they had started their show by then. Which is funny, the thing of those long shows, part of the blame on those long Sunday shows in 2018 and then 2019 was Rob Baker. Because he used to come down and practice his guitar when he was still in Ohio at around 10 or 11 at night. And he'd pop in the chat, he's, go another hour. And we're like, all right, Baker told us to go another hour. And then he used to pop on once in a while. I remember on those too.
Yep.
And he's like, I don't know. He goes, I'm in my jammies. I ain't popping on. All right. And RJ would do the same thing. He'd pop in the chat on occasion too.
Exactly.
Goes, I'm in bed. Like, come on, pop on.
So August of 20, you had the Nice Drive A.
Right.
And Nikki
Which
Tedeschi.
has to be, I have to be the most least famous person to have a signature pedal, Mike. I think I hold that record, beyond builders themselves, some random person just building their own pedal. But to have someone else, a manufacturer, build a pedal for, And we did 2 runs.
Yep.
Sold them both out somehow. Yep. I didn't think we'd sell out 1 run. And it was like, I want to say the first run was 25 pedals, and we sold 20 of them in the first day or 2. And I'm like, what? No. And Lawrence was like, yep. Huh.
Bo's got one, and I know Chris has one too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else in the chat have a Nice Drive A? I'd show you mine, but mine's upstairs. I know someone that has one who doesn't know he has one because he said he would demo it, and then he didn't demo it, and it's now sitting in a closet full of pedals. I'm not saying he's currently out on tour with Five for Fighting.
Yep.
But he got backed up on gear. He went out on tour, got backed up on demos. I get it. And then he forgot about it. And,
Okay.
but he fell in love with the name. He's like, oh, that's an awesome name. I need one. I'm like, done. I'm like, Lawrence.
Billy has one from the second run.
Nice. It's the exact same. I don't think we made any changes to the second run. Yeah, I'm actually 99% sure because I never got a prototype. If we made any changes, I would have got a new prototype, but I didn't.
The Down and Back Cornhole podcast says, I went for a nice drive today, 8. So, interviews you had about that time, Nikki Didesco, Sean Horowitz.
Right? Yeah, I met Sean during COVID, right?
Yeah.
Through, let me think. He won the contest. He won a Reno Fin signature guitar. It all comes full circle.
Wow.
Vandy Man.
Okay.
Vandy Man. That's who it was. He says, hey, you have any interested in talking with the guitar player from Smash Mouth? I'm like, fuck yeah. And he's like, I know, Sean. I'm like, hook me up. Lawrence has a nice drive, eh?
Nice.
Is the nice drive in your lineup now? No, because I don't need a lead boost. It actually is sitting in a display case in the living room, looking all posh. Because we had these little display cases up next to the couch, hanging on the wall like a wall sconce. They would have little figurines in them that my mom had. And then when she passed away, I emptied them out. Now they have effects pedals in them.
Yeah. So in July of 2021, we have Amanda's birthday. And I don't know if that was her first birthday party that she went on the channel for. But it's the first one I saw.
That is quite possible because her internet wasn't. You think my internet was bad back in the day? Hers was just as bad.
Yeah. And then we had more interviews. Steve from Boston, October 21.
Nice.
And now here's a new. I think this was the first time I could find one that looked like this because Bo brought up earlier Ben and soldering.
Oh.
So I've got a video here, like the volume pot problem. It was October of 21.
No, again, believe it or not, brace yourself, folks. I did live soldering when I replaced the pickup or pickups in my Chibson. Oh, there's Trev. He makes an appearance back in the chat because he was present in the chat. What I was going to say was, yeah, I did a live pickup replacement during a live stream because originally the idea was Johnny and I were going to both do it together.
Okay.
And then it fell through. I did more than once. I think I did the FU-tone pickups in my Mockingbird live streamed as well. Yes, live stream soldering. Me.
Yep.
Still had skills.
Yep. It can be done, and I've seen it.
Hands are fucked now. Can't do it now.
So we all enjoy those videos. It's kind of the closest thing to like Crazy Dave or Dave's World of Fun. You know, it's kind of like that in a way. But
I recently did some soldering, Michael. Didn't turn on, the camera because, karma. But I had to rewire the fabric Kramer in time for the Charles Green show last time because the pickup wasn't quite working right. All I did was clip off a simple setup. 2 wires soldered to each other, the other 2 to the pod. Easy peasy. That took me over an hour. And it's just because the wires are so small, I don't have the dexterity or the eyesight to deal with it anymore. Yeah.
Josh did a transmission in the Buffaloes.
Yeah, easy. But it was a flatty tranny. Not like something like what is it? Like fucking 4 bolts to hold it in place.
Yeah, but he did it with his bare hands. He just had one hand and a wrench, and the other hand on the bottom. He just.
That may have been Skip, Billy, because I think it's no longer up on the channel. I think all those were taken down.
Yeah, no, I couldn't find any of those.
Yeah, it was part of the agreement.
Not going to say I wasn't looking though.
I would expect nothing less.
So Adam Reaver was November 21, and in December of 2021, drum roll, not his first experience, not his first time on the channel, but a first time as a solo appearance. Child 75N, Dr. Fabric Top. That's
Nice.
December of 21.
That might be, yeah, that could be the first appearance.
It was his first solo appearance. He had been on the show one other time
Oh, really?
with a community hang.
Okay, yeah, because a lot of times I would break you in with a community hang. Yeah, because we didn't have the Buffalo meetings yet to warm people up to the idea. So, and a lot of people would say that. I'm like, hey, do you want to come on? And they're like, I'd rather be part of a group hang. I'm like, done. Easy, BC. Easy. Easy.
So a sad thing, December of 21, the Dave Nesdahl Memorial Show. That was quite a touching night.
Yep. That was a lot of organizing in 3 days, because that was on a Thursday and he passed away late Sunday, early Monday that week. However, you may notice on that panel that night, Michael, not to brag, but this is more because it's Dave's friends. Not one, Mike, not one, but 2 Grammy Award winners on that show that night.
Absolutely, I saw that. And did the people in the chat know who? That's like be a good type reason for them to.
We had 2 Grammy Award winners that night, folks. Who were they?
Yep.
And both great guys too. Just saying.
But that was really nice of you to do that.
Oh, I had to.
I know.
Because at first it was like Desiree was talking about doing it on Dave's channel, but she didn't know how to do the mechanics of it. And so, then Rob Johnson offered. I'm like, I've got the platform. And they're both like, really? I'm like, you do realize my channel's twice the size of Dave's, right? And they're like, oh yeah. I was like, yeah, I just, it was fun for me. Like, that was the deal with Dave was I'm like, you book the guest, you figure out the topic. It's all on you. I'm just your wacky co-host. You know what it was, Mike? It's like Charles and Seth now with Guitar Safari. Dave was Charles. He played the straight and narrow, and I was Seth.
So Doug got one of them.
Partial credit to Doug.
He said in someone else, so technically he's correct.
Yeah, no shit. Fucking typical Coombs. Waiting. We shall see.
Yep. So I'll just bring this up while we're waiting.
Hey, John.
December of 21 was the first time for a new category of videos for you.
Oh.
Really?
No idea. Let's see if anyone knows what the new category would be.
Yeah.
Not Dennis, sis.
No,
Dennis
not
is a great player, but
Dennis close.
I really should get Dennis on at some point. I keep meaning to. He's a great guy. But it's weird, kind of. I'll be honest, Mike. It's kind of weird having Dave's friends on these days. Because it's like I know them through Dave, and it just makes you miss Dave more. That's right, sis. And that's right, Herb.
Yep. Herb, the first one.
Yep. And my sister got Johnny Highland.
Yep. There you go. And another you could have guessed, and I would have forgiven. I would have forgiven anybody. Larry was also on.
Larry's hard to get for Sundays, Bo, because Larry goes live on Sundays himself. What's up, Ryan? I don't know. Ask Trev when he started pestering me into doing it. What do you win? Stop Pop tasting video, which will be coming back soon, Mike. I just need a nice day out to knock some out, including, I don't know if Ronnie's still here. I got the Boylan Brothers root beer finally.
So skipping ahead, now we've got Ike from my flip side, May of 22, and Fabric Top #1, July of 22. The one Charles did for you.
Yeah, the one that, as he says during the unboxing, almost dropped on the driveway.
Oh. Yep. And then September we had
I did, Doug. I only got like 2 kinds there. There wasn't much of a selection. It was the same ones over and over in that case.
Thanks, Javel.
Yeah, I was going to say, and like Ike, by 2022, we had been friends for a couple of years at that point, because originally, the first NAMM I attended, I went on behalf of Adam from FU Tone. He sponsored me to go. And then after that, though, from like the summer one and then the next winter one, that was both Ike from Flipside that provided our passes.
Yep. That's cool. I
Going
remember
to
that.
buy a pie? Fuck Trev. Lifestyle choices. That's awesome. Trev feels the need. It's 6:45 at night on the coast. He needs a fucking pie.
Then you had Mark and Dave from Tone Talk, September 22, which Dave Friedman and his friend.
Mark had originally been on in 2018 by himself. And then me finally getting around to rebooking a guest. It took, like say 4 or 5 years.
Yep.
That becomes a theme on this channel, you may notice, folks. Yes. That was fun with the Tone Talk guys.
And I would say December of 22 was the first time I could find, although I did look, is Trev on a hang with Hip, Terry, Trev, and Billy. Just
The
December 2.
He started originally on a Halloween hang, the first
Oh,
Halloween
maybe
hang.
right before that. Yeah.
Because I was finally talked into doing a Halloween hang because I'm not a Halloween person.
Yeah. And then January of 23, this might not be the first time he was on, but it's one I could find. Pete Thorne.
That would be the last time he was on, probably.
Yep.
Yeah, because that was the apology because he had missed the Monday and we had to do it again the next night.
Yeah.
And again, I was like, I woke up and like, why does my channel have 100 more subs, Mike? And it was because he put out a short apologizing to me.
Doug, I didn't really skip it so much as I skipped it.
It was not a highlight. For sure.
Sorry, man. It was not on purpose.
We had to edit the list for content for time constraints we edited for television. That's it.
I'm gonna have to be more mindful of my Doug, right? I'm gonna have to say hello to him in the chat and really make up for this.
Right, because Terry was also on that one. No, not the previous time Pete was on was when Tom, because he came on a Monday show and Tom fanboyed all over him. to the point, Mike, where Terry is on Messenger. He goes, "Is Tom okay?" I'm like, he's really fanboying out. He goes, "Okay, I thought it was just me." And then literally to the point where after it happened, Pete leaves, and then Tom's just like, because Tom's such a nice guy, right? He goes, "Oh my God, Ben, I totally took over your show. I'm so sorry, brother." I'm like, it's all good. It's fucking hilarious.
If it's good content, right?
Well, and he was asking much better questions than I ever would.
Yeah. So I think No, this one's just Pete. I don't have that hang. I did see it. But then February 23, you had Tim Pierce.
Right? It's been
Yep.
about a year and a half already.
Yep. And I'm kind of flying now towards the end because I figure a lot of people know more.
Well, and the crazy part about that, Mike, is 2 weeks later I had Tim Pierce again.
Yeah.
We did a part 2 like fast. It was only like a week or two later we did the part 2.
Yep. Yeah, that's one of my favorite interviews you've had. Really like.
Wasn't that again a freak me out moment? Was because like Tim was live yesterday. I missed it, unfortunately. But Tim was doing one of his live streams, and I'm in there, and he's got it set to the slow mode where you can only talk once a minute, right? So
Yeah.
I'm like, hey all, and I said something like a minute later, nice tone, Tim, or something, or like nice Les Paul, something like. And he's kind of noodling, right? And then all of a sudden he stops, and he's like, whoa. He goes, we got, you'll love it. We got a heavy hitter in the chat. So I'm doing the old, oh yeah? Who? Scrolling through the chat. Oh, who? Right? He goes, Ben Coombs in the chat. I'm like, fuck me. He said my name and he said it correctly too.
That's awesome.
And he goes, that's a dude I'd like to meet one day. And I'm like, technically we have, because I saw him at a NAMM show, didn't have time to get a selfie, but it was a quick hello. Literally, he was on his way one way. I was other. I'm like, Tim fucking Pierce. I gotta say hi to him.
Yeah.
And then he said that, and then I was like, oh wow, okay. And then he edited it out because he edits his live streams down for content size and stuff. And I'm like, dang, missed the shout out. But it was, I was like, oh fuck, all right. So I reached out to him, and again, it was like literally like I'm not going to say what his email address was, but it didn't sound like his email. It's like. Contact at Tim Pierce, it was like that kind of a generic.
Yeah.
But he replied within half an hour.
Like a website, like.
Yeah, and he replied within half an hour. Oh, banana cream, Trev. Banana cream.
Yeah, I think I'd go chocolate cream.
I'm thinking more tropical, summertime. Anyway, yeah, and it was just like, hey, rather than email, here's my number. Text or call.
That's awesome.
One adds to the contact list of, like if I ever said I'm living the dream, right? Just
Right.
look at my contact list, Michael. Like, what it, you live in a small town. You don't expect to ever meet these people.
Yeah.
But it's JJ. Full throttle, brother. Just keep going. Which I have slowed down the last couple of years, but part of it is I've kind of met everybody I wanted to meet.
Yeah.
Like who's left? And the people that are left, again, you got to be like Rick Beato to get them.
Mm-hmm.
Although, fun fact, Rick Beato on my list. And Rick and I have met several times.
Yep.
I called him sir and he laughed. I was on my way outside to have a vape, hanging out with Rob from Tesi at the Novo party, and he was half blocking the door. I'm like, excuse me, sir. He goes, you don't have to call me sir. I'm like, yeah, I do. And I walk by him.
Yep. Yeah, he built it impressive. He built his channel in 3 years. Like it really, he got it to the big point in 3 years.
And GetCon 2018, Rick Beato was there. And he was the one person that didn't have. He got a rental car. He didn't have to ride the fucking bus like everybody else. So Trying to Mike used to get rides with Rick, and he texted me, he goes, "Got a ride with Rick Beato this morning, brother. Was talking you up." I'm like, "Shut up!" Don't.
That's awesome.
Because that's Trying to Mike. He just loves to.
Yep.
Easy, Bo. Bo's like, hey, I got to know Ben. How lucky is that? I don't know. Is that
so? More recently, this is my trip.
There's the answer. I've known him 50 years. Not that lucky. Good to see William DeSilva in here.
Yeah, what's up?
Not that it was Williams' package sent to me that caused the UPS situation, but
Hey, it wasn't Williams' intent to cause that.
no, definitely not his intent. It was the result.
So Ben has, if you guys don't know, playlists that are pretty well maintained. So if you want to go and look for
Scary, isn't it? I'm not well maintained, but my
interview
playlist.
shows are in one playlist.
Yep.
The hangouts are in a playlist.
Yeah.
And there's a single playlist for the Charles Green episodes.
Yes.
They're so good. They're in a playlist, and all of them are there, and you can watch.
And I think he's appeared. Barring co-hosts of the Monday show or something that was regular, he's been on more times, I think, than anyone else. He's been on 13, 14 times.
Yep. And there's a soda video playlist, I believe.
Yep.
And a gear one. So it's like it was really cool to see that.
And the gear one is even then subdivided into guitars and pedals.
Yep.
Separately as well.
Yep.
Because some people are into pedals, some people are into guitars, and the idea is watch the videos. So we're not gonna. Sadly, I was hoping to hit 6,000 subs this year. I'll see you tomorrow, Seth. I was hoping to hit 6,000 subs this year. Doesn't look like it's going to happen unless I really get some big guest on that causes a huge amount of, like something viral happens. But fun fact, sometime I think by the end of next month, we're going to hit 2 million views on this channel.
That's great.
So that's an excuse to do a group hang and get fucked up.
That's what we do anyway.
Right.
So yeah, if you didn't see it, in July, Charles Green was on, the most recent, and he did the infamous Robin Crosby kind of discussion about how he practiced, right?
With a mini lesson.
Little mini lesson. It had been planned for a while, and we finally got it. So if you missed that, go back. There's a playlist. Boom.
Right.
Have fun with it, because Charles has
feel better. Charles, his voice was shot today on the show, but he still did a show.
Yeah, show must go on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these days now it's fortunate because I've had so many people on. I can now have recurring guests, like people will notice over the last year and a half, because especially last couple of years due to outside YouTube influences, a fellow was getting a little worn down trying to maintain the YouTube life as well as do other things. And so I started having more reoccurring guests, which was relying on friends' shows, shows like that where I don't have to think about it. I don't have to be on. I don't have to do an interview. It's like I just hang. It's like, oh, what are you doing? I'm going to have my buddy Michael B on this week. Or we're going to have JJ on. Or we're going to have Aaron on. Or Charles Green, just
or Charles 75N.
Charles 75N, which it's been a minute. Well, then again, he does the portion of the Monday show. I get him half an hour every Monday. So,
yep. And last week we had Trev on, which was a fun show.
Right. And that's, like Trev's like one of my best friends. We hang out a couple nights a week like this, just off air, just shooting the shit. How was your day? Like a Buffalo meeting, but just the two of us.
Yep.
It's just, and that's we just hang. Yep, Metalworks weasels this way in on occasion. I know it's crazy, Zach. It's because I saw especially once the last band broke up, this became my band. This is my brand. It's like I went solo. Like that's the way I still play guitar. Work, hustle. This is my brand rather than starting a band and gigging. This is because like Monday nights I'm virtually busking.
Yep.
Or busking virtually if you want.
Not to mention the new segment, which do you have a story? How did that come out?
You will see a spike in viewership during bad album covers. If you ever pay attention to the live viewership, folks, you'll see it'll bump up by 55 to 10 people just during the bad album segment. What that started out was our friend Charles 75N had been a little stressed out at work. And so, me being me, and him being him, you know, he is kind of a straight and narrow kind of guy, and I am not. So how can I stick into the spokes of that front tire? And so, for those who don't know, Charles works for the state of Texas, for the government. I don't know. He might even be the governor. I'm not quite sure what he does there, but he works for the government, and he was getting stressed out. So I decided, because I know the man works virtually, he kind of lets me know schedules, because again, we've become good friends. We text most days. So the days he went into work where he had to do in-person meetings, those are the days I start sending him bad album covers. Halfway between, you know,
get a reaction, like a head slap.
Yeah. And a couple of times he's tried to, just check out his cubicle while having a coffee and spit coffee out on his keyboard at work. It's happened. And now, and I warn him, don't watch my videos at work. Don't, that's on you, Charles. That's on you, because I do like to have fun with them in demos and stuff. And probably, I just imagine the amount of people, because, once I put in a demo, after 48 hours, none of you guys are watching it. You guys are all watching it the first day. There's 51 people watching. You're all watching it the first 6 hours. It comes out, basically. Going forward, then there's all these random people like, who's this Charles person the guy's talking to? Is he off camera? Like, can we meet him one day? They don't. So, yeah. And that's how that started, was me basically trolling Charles while he's at work.
Yep. And then you said, like Seinfeld, well, this is the show. This is the show.
And then it got, he's like, we should start showing him on the Monday show, which helped fill in time so Ben doesn't have to play as much. And let's be honest, Mike, I've been doing a Q&A show live for over 6 years now. We've kind of run out of questions for the most part, so I'm only getting 2 or 3 questions in an hour and a half, and I don't want to play that much guitar. So bingo, we added that. And then Charles, because I would show him off air usually once a week we do an off air hang, and I'm like, oh, Charles, I got this one. And he's, he'd be face palming and we're trying me like, look at Charles, all face palming and shit. And then somewhat easy, Doug.
Doug has a question.
Yeah, I bet he fucking does. So then Trev's like, we need to add this to the show. Charles needs to come on. And we're like, yes. And he's like, all right, I'm game, because, and I think it's great, because half it, I get a reaction from him from the album cover, but then I get 2 or 3 reactions from what you guys put in the chat, which can be equally offensive. So, yeah, that's how the origin story on that.
Yeah. I definitely have to put the headphones on and turn the outside speakers off.
Right.
It's on.
Yeah. So,
but
yeah, I don't know who we got on next week yet. Hey, it's unfucking believable. Maybe we can have him on next week.
Yep.
That's your penalty for being 2 fucking hours late.
No, his penalty
to appear on next week's show. Wow, that's rough, Mike. You show up 2 hours late for a show. Your punishment is you have to be the fucking guest next week. Wow. What do you say, Chris? You want to be the guest next week so I don't have to book a guest?
And his punishment is not actually hearing what we said about him earlier in the show.
We didn't even get to the middle pickup position yet on Les Pauls and how great it is.
That's true.
Right? Well, that's part of that was the newest segment on Mondays, middle position Mondays. No big moment for me having a gummy on Ben's birthday show this year. Well, yeah, because there was nothing in the gummy. I think Charles went back to bed.
I think I saw the show, at least, Doug.
Yeah, it was this year's birthday show. Were you not on this year's birthday show, Mike, or was that last year?
I was on this year, apparently, April. I literally like scrolled over and I saw my box and I went, I was on this year? Like I forgot. So I'm not sure which one it was. It was a group thing, like a community.
The funniest was talking about, I remember on the group hang and then talking about the previous group hang, and I'm like, wait a minute. One of the panelists, I think it was Hip, I'm like, you were there! You were on it! He's like, oh yeah. His Hip just gets an automatic invite to any group hang now for some reason. I don't know how he worked that into his contract, but
Yeah, it's in his rider.
sure, as long as we don't talk about the Milbs. All right, so next fucking week we got next fucking fucking believable. Which
Nice.
You know what I'm gonna do? Because I always forget how to spell his fucking name.
It's NFCK.
We're just gonna take a photo for the title. All right, there we go. All right, so next week it's unfucking believable. We're going to talk about frame I. We're going to throw Lawrence under the bus 3 times.
Really?
And I don't know, we'll have a bunch of fun. It's always fun hanging with Chris. So there we are.
You know, you should have a whole, I don't know, what it was, this like a best of show with just Doug moments.
We can reach over into the Nats Canucks side of things too, because we did a
And
whole
that,
podcast.
that one, instead of talking about it, the funny thing would just be to clip the clips. Like that, that would be funnier.
A clip show.
Yep.
See, that's what I do the Sunday where I'm not feeling well. You get a clip show and it just premieres instead. So you still have a live chat, but it's just a premiere of a clip show. Best of. I thought about doing that a couple times when I wasn't feeling well. Just
Yeah.
rebroadcasting, an old episode, but do it as a premiere.
Sure. I'll bet you people would like it. You know, like one of these classic shows, like a classic hang. It had Dave
Yeah,
on it.
like a Pete Thorne or
Yeah. The Tim Pierce. You know, like a lot of channels I watch in different genres in gaming, they'll do things like composite videos of past stuff and group it as a theme. And then that's a special thing you put out as a premiere.
Why would you bring the camper this weekend, Doug? I have plans this weekend. It's like it's not a big thing on Friday. It's a quick little hour, 2. That's it. For those, we're doing the memorial to my parents this Friday.
Oh, okay.
So you'll be down for that. I was like, yeah, it's just this little tiny affair for a couple hours. You don't need to bring the camper unless you're parking at her place. Pie is on point. Good. That is good. Living color tune.
Who's Bad Brad?
I think he came up in my feed, but I'm not sure. Rings a bell. Oh, actually, who and I still got to reach out to is Uncle Larry. I really want to get Uncle Larry on.
Yeah. Do you know why is he called Uncle Larry? Did I miss something?
We have to ask him that.
Tom.
Yeah, but it's his alter ego is Uncle Larry, I guess.
Okay.
Why doesn't he just call his YouTube channel Tom Bukovac or Uncle Larry?
I know it's
501 or second.
Yeah.
Hell, I watched the guy for weeks before I realized I'm watching Tom Bukovac. Seriously, no, because it was one of the first things was he was like Glazers.
Yeah.
And it says like Glazers tour. I'm like, oh fuck, cool. I'm in. I'm a gear nut. This will be cool. Check out his workshop. And he's like coming up to the back door and he just walks in like he owns the place. And they was like, hey, Larry. I'm like, who's Larry? I guess Larry's the guy that has this channel. And then, and he's going around, blah, blah, blah. It's all this and that. And then sometimes you hear Tom. I'm like, well, maybe there's a guy who's with this Larry guy named Tom. I don't know. Being silent because he's along for the ride. It's shot like clearly on somebody's phone. Like there's no production value. Can't be a professional. And then you realize, oh, I am watching Uncle Larry, aka Tom.
Yeah, so Guitar Man 45 has a comment that Tom
Yeah, he stole my 62.
You too.
Well, see that because you may recall, Mike, in the Buffalo meetings, Bo has been looking for. He wanted a 62 Firebird.
Yep.
Right, and he's like, I'm having a hard time. I can't find a 62 Firebird. And then I watch an Uncle Larry video, and he's like, hey, folks, look, snagged on a 62 Firebird. Turns out there's only 5 of these ever made, and they're all different from each other, various variants, because they're all prototypes and blah, 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 because they went into production the next year. And I'm like, well, that's why Bo can't find one.
Yeah.
There's only 5, and apparently Larry has 2 of them or something. I don't know.
Yep.
Wow,
and
that other guy 2 hours.
Wow.
That's crazy. Well, we talked about 6+ years, so that'll do it.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of anyone else off the top of my head that were cool people that we missed somehow, some way. There's Jake Fawn. He's a professional sideman. He was playing with David Lee Roth right before lockdown happened.
Oh, wow.
Let's see, English or Scottish? He's got a bunch of cool YouTube videos. He's a great, versatile player.
Huh.
I came across him as like hot chicken picking. Something like that was the name of the video. He's a it's just a single pass through to a backing track. I'm like, holy crap.
I kind of want to learn how to do that.
Thanks, Joe.
Who would be a good player to listen to for that style?
For chicken picking?
Yeah.
Oh, Johnny Highland. He's my favorite. That's why he got his framed photo back there. It's like, what would Johnny do?
There you go.
Can't really see it that well, but that's photo of Johnny Highland. Signed even. Ooh. Didn't you have the Guitar Street? Yeah, Rob Cunningham from Didario. You've been on a couple times. He was in the chat last week.
Yep.
I haven't had Albert Lee on yet. Oh, you mean
Albert Lee for the style. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Chris.
Be a cool guest too.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. Well, we didn't mention Phil McKnight being on the channel a couple times.
I feel almost as bad as I do missing Doug to missing Phil in these links.
And I will say, for those who want to know what kind of a guy Phil can be, so the first time I was on, we did a daytime show, like that was about an hour because I didn't want to take up too much of his time because he was busy. It was like a Wednesday, we'll call it, right? Do an hour-long show. We then hung out like this after the show for another 3 hours.
Wow.
Just shooting the shit. He was picking my brain, like bouncing ideas off me, and I'm picking his brain on stuff. Clearly no follow-through. But yeah. Phil McKnight, definitely good guy.
You had Dane Zimmerman, Zim's Guitars. You had Dane on.
Dane's been on.
Yep.
Zach from Mythos Pedals.
Yep.
He was cool. Rhett Scholl.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Yes, 100%. Remember that.
Anyone else have a fave they want to throw out there? And we'll probably wrap things up.
Yeah, I say for me it's Tim Pierce.
Tim Pierce.
Those are my favorite.
Yeah, we got 46 people still watching. We're going to get even 20 people mention their fave.
He was, like you said, he was so happy to be on. He's like, let's do it again. And like that's how.
Yeah, it's because we only did it for an hour the first time because I knew he had a place to be.
Yeah. Nice.
Unbelievable. Tom as a guest. I love it. All right. Tommy boy. Of course, yeah, the Nesdal hangs were always great.
Yep.
What's up, Keith?
Hey, Keith.
I think Keith is too wild for YouTube. course, Doug votes for himself.
Yeah, this year we had McCollum Music on, right? You had them.
Yeah.
You had them on.
Yeah, Josh has been on. Josh will be coming back on in a few weeks. I think we figured Labor Day weekend? I don't know, or is it going to be the last weekend in August? Hang on. Let's confirm now. Okay, so next week is the 18th, so that's going to be Chris. Josh, do you want to do the 25th then? Otherwise, it's September 1st. You want 25th or the 1st? Then I know which one I got to fill in next. See, Mike? That's how we'll do that.
I got to say, Jim, JP Page 2, or some of my favorite of the Water Buffaloes that come on, the community type.
Yeah. Also, yeah, I'm planning on getting him on. He's not here, but next month, because I know he's really busy in the summer.
Yep.
So I've been waiting on that. Because we're due for another amp show.
I love
And
hearing
then
more.
we'll talk to Jim. Jim's a great guy.
Very knowledgeable, too.
Go with the 1st? All right, there we go. We're going with the 1st. September 1st is Josh, so I got to fill in the week in between. All right, well, we'll figure that out.
You're getting there.
Yep, just pick them out of the chat 1 week at a time. Well, 2 tonight, which is fine. We were talking about that off air. Or like, say, the last Buffalo meeting was Mike was asking a couple of questions on the Origin Stories thing. I'm like, this would be a great show. What are you doing then? You're like, let's do it.
Yep. And I ended up not having practice tonight. So it worked out.
Perfect. I will be seeing Richie on Friday. I don't even know if he's playing these days, to be honest with you. He's all in the slot cars now. What are we drinking tomorrow night? Some form of liquid. I'm not sure yet.
It wasn't that long. Didn't he come back once?
He came back a couple of times after he left the Monday show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he came on a couple of group hangs.
Yeah. I don't think it's
as sporadic videos I'd shot over the years. But then I realized every time I go over, I'm making a video out of it, and part of that was because for the alumni of the channel that remember him. But then I'm just like, I don't think he's overly interested in it. So,
well, we miss him.
I will mention that this Friday. No, he's moved since then, Bo. Actually, he's moved a couple times since then. He now has a house in Trenton that he bought. That was a rental place before.
I should say we enjoyed his content. That's all we have to tell him.
Which actually, I got to get a hold of him and see if he can give Taft a ride to come to the memorial. So, yeah. So I'll be back tomorrow with, even though the name's Canucks with Guitars, because the S is homage to Richie. Otherwise, it would be a Canuck with Guitars. He better have chili. Easy done. Yeah. I'll be playing some songs. Did I? I didn't learn a new song, but I remembered a Who song. Something else. Who song I used to perform, but I never played the lead part, so I had to figure out the lead part. Then I figured out the lead part, so we can do that tomorrow, if I remember. Then we got demos coming up this week of a couple of guitars that were shot at a nondescript location. We won't say who, but we will. I don't know what they are. I can take a look, though, for the benefit of those who... And, we should mention another benefit for the channel members. If you click the join button, you early access to videos. Because I remember you saying you dug that, so I started doing that again. So
yep.
You can thank that guy for that feature, folks. Thank him. So, as long as I remember. It's hard to remember. But I was thinking I might even do some up to a week in advance. Like, they'll be sitting in members mode for up to a week before they actually go live.
Yeah.
So... Just think that more early access to demos, folks, even though it hurts me in the algorithms. But We also have a bench video this week. That's right, a restring and setup. It looks like, a limited edition Gretsch. That's right. And an Ibanez RG. What? Yep. Apparently I'm demoing an Ibanez RG.
That's pretty terrible. They penalize you because you do it to a limited basis. Then they penalize you for not getting a big hit.
Right.
That's weird.
YouTube's weird at times, folks.
It doesn't seem right. It just seems like it's a coincidence or a consequence. But then they, I don't know. They know what to do.
More demos either this week or next, apparently. Yeah, you need more Gretches. Oh, did someone say Gretsch? I did. Set up on one, Charles, as well as I demoed the limited edition in black pearl.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, full hollow body, gold hardware, black pearl paint. Oh, because at first I just thought it was gloss black with the gold, which always is sexy because it just reminds me of a '77 Trans Am. So that's cool. But then I'm like, they held it, and there's like sparkle and pearl. I'm like, unfortunately, it does not come up on camera. Unfortunately, it did not come up on camera.
Oh, it didn't carry through, huh?
No, but trust me, folks, fucking awesome guitar. That'll be a Wednesday. Then the setup video will be a Thursday. Then the RG will be Friday. And hopefully, if I have time, a Soda Pop video Saturday. Soda Pop Saturdays.
Yep. Has its own playlist.
It does. Thumbnail created by Charles 75N. Just saying. On the newer ones, not the older ones, but the new one going forward. I think I've used it once so far. Wasn't Rockford's car 78 Trans Am? It was Firebird. It wasn't Trans Am, though. You could tell it was the baseball. It didn't have a rear spoiler on it.
Yeah. It was the plain one.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't the whole fucking like Burt Reynolds, Smokey and the Bandit. That's why I big old gold fire chicken right on the hood. T-top optional. Yeah. Although T-tops are cool. They all leak, but it looks fucking cool.
Okay, Rockfish.
Very cool, Zach. He was in Brighton yesterday. There's the Hobo Roadie. All right. Well, there we go. We'll probably wrap things up here. Always a pleasure. Part of the class of 2018. Michael B. himself. This is your channel. It was very cool. Like he's like, did a little research. Yeah. He's like, the whole show. I think everyone enjoyed it. And I certainly did. And wow. Yeah. A lot. Yeah. Let's say it's ridiculous. The contact list, the people I know that I really have no business knowing. Really. That's what I say. Thank you, Charles. I hope you're doing better. Hope to see Charles tomorrow reacting to album covers. Maybe we'll make him yak live on air. I don't know. He just yacked right now. No, I don't know.
Oh, great.
See if he'll jump on the post show so I can see proof of life.
Yeah.
Hold the line here, Mike, and we'll see everybody. Tanya.
See you, Keith. See you, Mark.
Cheers, Mark. I'll see you tomorrow in the morning. Oh, that's right. I got to get up in the morning.
Arf.
And and if you haven't already, please subscribe to Mike's channel. Terry's been throwing the link in the chat. He puts out a variety of content. It's great stuff. Please support my friend Mike. Just saying. Anyways, yes. So how do we turn this thing off? Right. No, not there. Here first. Then we play the video and we say, hold those doors open. Let Charles 75 in ahead in traffic. Apparently he's going to work today. I don't know. And, karma is real. Because we realized, we were talking about this the other day, Mike. I say Doug's wife is real so much. You can be subscribed to this channel for a year and you have no idea what that means. Right. Doug's wife's name is Karma. So karma is real. Be good to each other. Happy tone chasing. And as always, don't let her.